So, children, yesterday I have started the chapter that is called the Delhi Sultanate. In that, I have started the slave dynasty. Okay, and in slave dynasty, I told you that Muhammad. First, we have studied in the slave dynasty that Muhammad Ghori defeated Prithviraj Chauhan in the Second Battle of Taran in 1192. All right, and then after defeating Prithviraj Chauhan, he has extended his control over Bihar, over Bengal, and Gangetic Plains, all the areas. So after having a control in these areas, Muhammad Ghori decided to return back to his home, Afghanistan. But before leaving to Afghanistan, he made Qutbuddin Aibak as the general to India. He appointed Qutbuddin Aibak as the general to look after the areas which he has controlled. So since then, Qutbuddin Aibak got the control of India, and that's why Qutbuddin Aibak is considered as the founder of the slave dynasty. All right, and then the early rulers of the slave dynasty were called as Mamluk Sultan. Okay, before Qutbuddin Aibak, whosoever become the ruler, they were called as Mamluk Sultan. All right, and what is the meaning of Mamluk? Mamluk is an Arabic word which means owned. All right, then since the earlier sultan, means before Qutbuddin Aibak, whosoever become the rulers of the slave dynasty, they were either the slaves of the Turk, they were the slaves of the Turk, or the sons of the slaves, and that's why they were called as Mamluk Sultan. Therefore, they were called as Mamluk Sultan. Is it clear? Then this is the thing we people have studied about, that how Qutbuddin Aibak become the ruler, and he become the Sultan of Delhi. Okay, and he become the founder of the slave dynasty. Then about him, what kind of the ruler he was. Like he was a master. He was a master. Means he was means a brave a ruler. All right. He has actually, after Muhammad Ghori, whatever territories the Muhammad Ghori has conquered, after him he continued the series of conquest and captured the fort of Kalin Zar in Bundelkhand and Ahilwara in Gujarat. All these areas are also captured by Qutbuddin Aibak. Then, besides being a brave and capable military general, Qutbuddin Aibak was also a knowledgeable person. He was a scholar, all right? He was having knowledge. And this is mentioned by two writers. One of the writer is Hassan Nizami, and one of the writer is Fakir Mudir. They have mentioned that who was the court poet of Qutbuddin Aibak. They said that Qutbuddin Aibak was not only the brave and capable military general, but he was a man of letter. He was a scholar. Okay, then Qutbuddin Aibak started constructing one of the great contribution of Qutbuddin Aibak, apart from being a ruler. He also led the foundation of this construction of the Qutub Minar in Delhi. Okay, and later this is completed by his son-in-law Iltutmish. Okay, then we have studied the Qutbuddin Aibak. After his death, Aram Shah succeeded the throne, but since Aram Shah was an incapable ruler, so the advantage was taken by his son-in-law Iltutmish, and Iltutmish became the ruler of the slave dynasty. He became the Sultan of Delhi. Okay, then Iltutmish were having four children. One was girl, that is Razia Sultan, and Iltutmish found his son incapable and weak. So that's why Iltutmish decided to give the throne to his daughter Razia Sultan. All right, then but Razia got so much of challenge from the nobles and her brothers. All right, the nobles were not ready to accept a woman as their ruler, so they started conspiracy against Razia Sultan, and Razia Sultan was killed. And then after the killed, what happened? That the throne was gone again back from the hands of Razia Sultan to his brother, who were proved to be the weaker rulers. Is it clear? Then there occur after the slave dynasty, there occur the Khilji dynasty. Okay, the last ruler of the slave dynasty was murdered in 1290. Now see all of you in the book, page number 75. Open your book, page number 75. We are going to start now Khilji dynasty. The last ruler of the slave dynasty was murdered in 1290, and there arose a new line of ruler called the Khiljis. Okay, so the last ruler of slave dynasty was killed, and who killed? The one of the ruler of Khilji dynasty, and there established the Khilji dynasty, who started ruling over India, who started ruling over Delhi. Okay, then who was the founder of Khilji dynasty? Jalaluddin Khilji. Okay, who was the founder of the slave dynasty? Qutbuddin Aibak. Who was the founder of the Khilji dynasty? Jalaluddin Khilji. See all of you in the book. Jalaluddin Khilji was the founder of the Khilji dynasty, who came to the throne after killing Kaikubad, the last of the ruler, king of the slave dynasty. Okay, so Jalaluddin Khilji has killed the last slave ruler in 1290, and the name of the last slave ruler was Kaikubad. Okay, then he was murdered by his nephew Alauddin Khilji, who proclaimed himself as the Sultan. Then what happened? Jalaluddin Khilji has killed the last slave ruler of the king of the slave dynasty, that is Kaikubad. And then Jalaluddin Khilji was later killed by his nephew. The name of the nephew was Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji has killed Jalaluddin Khilji. Jalaluddin Khilji has killed Kaikubad, the last ruler of the slave dynasty. Okay, so from Kaikubad, the control of Delhi gone to Jalaluddin Khilji, and from Jalaluddin Khilji it gone to Alauddin Khilji. Now we are going to study, and Alauddin Khilji is famous and very popular in the Indian history, because apart from being a capable ruler, being a brave ruler, he was also a great administrator, and some of the policies which he started has actually made him very famous and popular in the Indian history. Now we need to study about Alauddin Khilji in page number 75. So all of you see in the book. On ascending the throne, Alauddin had to face a rebellion of Mongol who had earlier settled New Delhi. Okay, so when Alauddin got the throne of Delhi, then he faced lot of rebellion. He faced lot of problem from the Mongols. Mongols were continuously attacking to his territory. Okay, then when Alauddin heard of the rebellion, he got many of the Mongol massacred. Then when he come to know that Mongols are threatening his people and threatening his area, then he has killed many of the Mongols. Many of the Mongols are being massacred by Alauddin Khilji. Then after that, Alauddin conquered all the territories of Malwa, including Ujjain, Dhar, Chanderi and Mandu. Okay, after doing the massacre of the Mongols, he has captured Malwa, he has captured Ujjain, he has captured Dhar, Chanderi and Mandu. These all areas are being captured by Alauddin Khilji. Then by 1305, Alauddin conquered most of the northern area. Almost all the part of the northern area are being controlled and conquered by Alauddin Khilji till 1305. He had a strong army and started paying his soldiers in cash for the first time. Alauddin Khilji has started paying to his soldiers in cash, salary in cash. Okay, this is the first thing which Alauddin Khilji has started. Then a very popular policy started by Alauddin Khilji was market regulation. he was not only a brave ruler, he not only conquered many territories, almost all the territories of the northern India, but he also has started certain policies which actually gives lots of prosperity to his territory. Like one of his policies, market regulation. He has controlled the market by dividing the market into three categories. Now see all of in the book, market regulation. Alauddin is best known in history for his market regulation. He is best known. He's one of the ruler who has done a very extraordinary work, and one of his extraordinary work is the market regulation. Then underline from here, he fixed the cost of all commodities. The first thing what he has done, he has decided that what will be the cost of each commodity. Commodities like food grain, sugar, cooking oil, etc. For this purpose, he set up three markets. He has set up three markets in Delhi. All right, so that he can fix the cost of the food grains. Okay, so for that purpose, he has actually set up three markets in Delhi. One market was for food grain, second market for costly cloth, and third market for horses, slaves, and cattle. So three markets he has set up. First market was food grains market, second market was costly cloth market, third market was for horses, slaves, and cattle. And each market was put under the charge of a controller of market who was called as Sahana. So what do you mean? Who was Sahana? Sahana was the controller of the three types of market set by Alauddin Khilji. Then after that, very strict punishment were prescribed for cheating and unweighing goods. See, what is the negative side of Alauddin Khilji dynasty was that he has given a severe punishment, very strict punishment for those who were doing cheating and for those who were doing unweighting goods. Means पैकेट में क्वांटिटी कुछ और लिखी है और कम क्वांटिटी पैकेट में, अगर ऐसी कुछ भी तरीके की फ्रॉड या चीटिंग पता चलती थी तो अलाउद्दीन खिलजी was giving a very tough and a severe punishments to the people. So this was his market regulation, children. Okay, market regulation. He has fixed the cost of the commodity. He has set the three types of the market: food grain market, costly clothes markets, houses, slave, and horses, slave, and cattle market. For each market was put under the control of, you can say, controller of market who was called as Sahana. And if anyone was doing cheating or anyone was doing unweighing the goods, then they were being strictly punished by Alauddin Khilji. Is it clear? So this is the first policy in which Alauddin Khilji became very popular in history. Okay, now the second, Deccan expedition. All right, so as we know, I just now told you that Alauddin Khilji has captured almost all the territories of North India. After controlling almost all the territories of northern India, he put his eyes towards the South India. Deccan means South India. So he has sent an expedition to South India so as to conquer the South Indian territories also. Now see all of you in the book. Alauddin Khilji was the first sultan who, after conquering the bulk of northern India, sent an expedition to Deccan under Malik Kafur. Okay, so he has very big army, soldiers, group of soldiers under the leadership of Malik Kafur. He sent them to the Deccan expedition. Then the kingdom of Devagiri, Warangal, Dwarna Samundra, and Madurai were conquered but not annexed. Okay, so they have conquered them, but they have not annexed them. Why they have not annexed them? They have conquered them and given the freedom to the ruler that you rule over your territory, but you are going to pay annual revenue to Alauddin Khilji. Is it clear? So what are the territories? Malik Kafur, one of the generals sent by Alauddin Khilji for Deccan expedition, they have conquered the territories of Devagiri, Warangal, Dwar Samundra, and Madurai. All these things were conquered, but they have not annexed. They have given the king to full power to control their territory, but they said to the king that you are going to pay a good amount of revenue annually to Alauddin Khilji. Then Alauddin did not annex this kingdom for two reasons. First, he realized that it would be practically difficult to control this distant land from Delhi. Yes, one of the reasons why he has conquered but not annexed, because he was knowing that these territories are very far from Delhi and it will be very difficult to have a control on these territories. The first reason. Second reason, he was more interested in acquiring the wealth of the Deccan kingdom. Yes, his interest was to get the wealth of the Deccan, and which he was getting, because the king now have to pay a good amount of revenue to Alauddin Khilji. Then, thus the ruler of Deccan were forced to accept the overlordship of Alauddin Khilji and to pay annual tribute to him, because he conquered but he did not annex. So all the South Indian rulers were forced to pay a good amount of annual tribute to Alauddin Khilji. Is it clear? So for today only this much. Tomorrow I am going to start measures against Alauddin Khilji. This I am going to start, okay? And then I am going to start Tughlaq dynasty. Most probably I will complete this chapter tomorrow. For today only this much. Thank you, children.